Of course, with the Jakiro being picked up, that does kind of give up the game a little bit here in terms of presumably the snap going into Sunlight's hands as a core, but that's going to work out really just fine. The only concern you have moving the snap to a core hero is if you were trying for like the combo play with the Faceless Void or something like that, because then the positioning gets kind of funky. But without that kind of setup, without the need for the Snapfire to be in the back, having it in a core position just gives you more damage.
Yep. And they go for NP. Don't look to dive into that TB matchup. Instead, they say, okay, we're going to push every building, every tier 1, every tower is going to be ours. We have Nature's Prophet Beastmaster. 5RAT are taking that tempo idea they got from game 1, and instead of heroes that they're slaying, it's buildings, it's objectives, it's getting a 15-minute Roche, it's moving across the map, and just shutting Wildcard out. It's a very similar strategy to game 1, but again, it's that focus that shifts, and it's probably going to work out and look a whole lot better.
Yeah, Wildcard, with the lineup that they currently have, don't really have that same guy that you can just park in front of a tower and prevent some of that aggression from coming out. The supports will have to do their best, and Jakiro's not a bad choice on that front, right? If you are looking for someone who can just kind of slow these pushes down a bit, but not sure if that's going to be enough. But in the meantime, we do move into the final phase of the bans. Both sides should be taking aim at that mid pool at this stage.
Yeah, it's where we're going to see heroes like the Ember. Honestly, even the Storm Spirit, I feel like, is maybe a value ban versus Kits, or the Void Spirit, just because it's Kits. But we'll have to see what 5RAT decide to take out. But they also have last pick, so they want to get dirty. They already have Nature's Prophet Beastmaster if they really want to. I mean, they could continue to just look for counter picks in the lane, and especially for Red 2. It's really just a matter of how many heroes are actually banned out. The big one that's currently missing from the bans is for sure Batrider. It's where if one team goes for it too early, then the other team probably picks Queen of Pain. If one team decides to not ban it out or not value it, if Wildcard, let's say, let Ember drop into their hands, I mean, the bat's just going to come. So that's definitely what these teams are thinking about. It's, will there be enough heroes at the end of these bans for us to get a matchup that is tenable, is kind of the way that this final phase is going to go.
And there is the Ember Spirit being banned away. 5RAT take it out, and well, now we get to see the final stages of a little mini chess match here. Wildcard opted for the Tusk ban first, which honestly at the time sort of felt pretty good. It's a hero that is not a part of that back and forth that you were just describing, but still enough of a threat where it made sense as a ban. But now, well, if you're Wildcard, you have some decisions to make here. You are going to have to take your mid laner without knowing the matchup, so do they look for something with just durability? Do they, okay, pull the trigger early and ban away the bat so they don't have to worry about that exchange? But now, what's left if you're 5RAT? Do they just ban another spirit? You mentioned both the Storm and the Void being options for kits.
Well, the big one right now is, do they ban Lesh? Because Wildcard, of course, they've got the sleep art set up with the Splitter. It's a Kits hero. It's a ranged hero on 23, so you don't get that shutout pick if you were looking for like a Huskar or something like that. So that's where we're going to see with this ban here. They either ban the Lesh or they ban the Storm.
Okay.
So there you go. It makes sense. And let's see what they go for. And there you go. It's as easy as that. And 5RAT are the one that are kind of left without a hero here, because the Batrider is gone. They would have loved the Batrider versus Lesh matchup, a matchup that is still fine for Lesh by any means, but is still a kill for Red 2 in most situations. But it's gone. What do they pick? Kunkka. Not a bad option. Kind of doubles down on their team fight a little bit. Really solid hero choice, actually, versus Terrorblade, just because, well, you get the health swap, but they still got Rum on them. They're still wild. They're still running at you. But otherwise, it's probably the best draw they could have looked for. But Wildcard have a fantastic lineup. I love what they've got. They've drafted really exceptionally, I think, in this series, despite having 2 stand-ins. It just looks good. I think they've got exactly what they want.
And the thing I like maybe the most about this lineup is that they took what was supposed to be 5RAT's strength and effectively either matched it or stole it, right? Because if you have a farm TB sending out illusions, you've got a Leshrac, you've got Jakiro and Snapfire, who both have nice amounts of wave clear. If 5RAT don't get the early pushes that they want, you push just as well, if not better. So Now more pressure gets put on 5RAT. Your strategy has to work, otherwise you're behind the 8 ball again.
Yeah. The only thing that I think Wildcard are missing to pair with this Leshrac is they don't really have that easy save that you usually want to pair. It's where Flea, Sunlight Veil, all the supporting cast needs to be real careful because kits can get popped. It's where every single time the Kunkka gets involved, it's also going to be DNM getting involved. It's where every boat, a Wrath of Nature is going to come through as well. Maybe a Soul Rip flies through. It's where that burst damage potential from 5-Rat needs to be valued. And then Wildcard can move past that. They get BKBs. They get the Bloodstone. They look like they're that Deathball lineup they want. Where 5-Rat, they don't want that. They want to take you early. They want to take you before those items are completed. They want to take those towers as fast as humanly possible and then play that up-tempo lineup where they're constantly one item ahead of Samson and Kits, where the heroes just work with a little bit less net worth. And I think that's where 5-Rat, they're at that tempo lineup. They're looking for plays. They're looking for buildings, a much more robust lineup than Game 1.
Well, we shall see how it plays out. I do want to point out again, 5-Rat made that same switch. They've got Nick. Excuse me. They've got Nick on the Beastmaster here. Speed is playing what should be a support Undying. So we talked about that a little bit in the previous game, right? Both players having experience in that offlane role. So it just kind of comes down to who felt more comfortable on what. So Nick the 3, Speed the 4, but I mean, unless Nick's been hiding something from us for the past, like, 18 months, ET, Speed is obviously the better Undying.
Yeah. I mean, it's just his hero. He's got 6 mangoes. He knows what he's about, but it is a really interesting shift up. Something that I don't exactly understand. It's something that maybe I personally could ask later, but it just feels like maybe they're trying to give Nick some more flex. Maybe they're satisfied with their kind of point status right now, so they're changing things up just to give, I mean, the lad a little bit more practice on the role that he's going to play in his professional career. It's not like Nick isn't an offlaner. He definitely shifted his playstyle up to play on this team in this tournament, but it still feels a little bit different. And of course, it is Speed's Beastmaster as well, so, you know, it kind of sucks to not see him on what is also one of his traditional heroes, but can't hem and haw too much about it, you know? The lane will still accomplish what it wants to accomplish, and Speed will be very annoying. He will be super obnoxious, especially on that Terrorblade. It sucks that he's going to have to deal with Dual Breath, but at the same time, he's just going to be stealing stats and then hitting people, even though... Nice trade, nice boundary insecure. They do go even, but it's just going to be a matter of how well Speed can kind of shut out the Terrorblade, even though you already saw in that exchange with Velhior, Undying not the best hero to trade versus these high armor Agi heroes, just because you steal their strength. Well, you stole their strength, but they still got 9-7 armor. It's a difficult trade to force yourself into.
Samson's got 9 armor. Even Flea's got, what, 3 armor here on the Jakiro? So, yeah, it's not exactly the greatest matchup to exploit, but if you're Speed, you gotta do it. You don't really have alternatives. The good news, at least, is that he does not have to lane against the Snapfire directly, so maybe we see a little bit more opportunity for an earlier Tombstone.
Yeah, could definitely see that being like a level 2 play, or see Speed do what he does when he actually plays the Undying offlane, where he just maxes Soul Rip straight up and just has a 300, 400 damage nuke, which is something he has done many times in the past, but he's got options. This lane, though, is going to be boring. This is a waiting game. This is just both teams kind of trading. Once we hit level 2, Samson will probably skill up both the Reflection and the meta, and then we'll see a much larger scale trade happen. But until then, there's just no way for either side to kill anybody top.
And it looks like it might be something kind of similar over on the other side, because this is the downside of Ricky. Once you have the Sleep Dart, you're a menace. You are frankly terrifying to set up for your teammates. Before that, though, you're a creep in fancier clothes, really.
Yeah, it's not the most fun, and of course, you know, different Ricky players can make those early stages look easier or harder, but all you can really do is just spam the Blink Strike. It's a very efficient spell, but it's about all it is. They've already gone for the creep cut a few times now. Once Sunlight has a little bit more nuke damage, then maybe we get a better play, but yeah, like we said, very difficult for anyone to make some early game damage really stick.
especially against a Nature's Prophet in this lane with a Clockwork to just run interference. Just kind of playing the waiting game, trying to keep Sunlight safe, and also giving Sunlight as much solo XP as possible here. That is going to be a pretty big deal. If your Snap can get the levels up, you're going to be in a better spot, and, well, if you're Velhor, okay, sure, you'd like to have some levels of your own, but as we pointed out, you're just waiting for 15, you're waiting for your shard. If you get levels, cool. If you don't, who cares? It's really not going to hurt you too badly.
No, and as long as he has these creep pulls coming, and AB1, yeah, getting some damage traded out. They was waiting for the scatter blast. The trees are coming over, but it's too much damage.
Okay.
Yeah. A little bit of a hat trick. And DNM has too many creeps. He's kind of inundated right now, so the double creep pull goes off, where we've got 2 different lanes now.
Well, all that time we just said Velhor's probably not going to be able to set up too much, and yeah, to defend our point a little bit, that felt like more of AB1 getting a little too far forward as opposed to being set up on, but well, if anybody overextends, doesn't matter what your duo is, if you can hit hard, you're going to be able to make something happen.
Yeah, I'm watching top. Oof. Samson just gets chunked. He's got 6 stacks of wild axes. It's where he'd make a real big mistake if he gets clipped again. And Samson,
Ooh.
yeah, he's going to be able to walk that one out, but yeah, Nick just gets to commit. He's got more mana. Samson cannot walk up to the wave right now. If he did, it'd be a massive mistake and a free kill, but that's the forcing moves that you can make. It's where that Axis build is fearsome. Just force the TV entirely off the wave. And we didn't get to see it, but TV meta was committed a little bit earlier.
Cooldown for 50. Flea working overtime there, just trying to force everyone away from his tower so he can heal his buddy up, and they will survive, but it's never really supposed to be that close a call this early in the game. Samson not having the most fun in the world here, but hey. Just gotta sort of weather the early storm here, although, oh man, he is getting hit hard. That was even a decay being thrown out there from speed, so well, a little bit of harassment you can take, but you take a look at his last hit count, CT, 11-1 is pretty far down there.
No, they're doing a great job. They're also just feeling out a lot of these snipes. He's hiding in the trees, but 5RAT are just kind of calling his bluff because he needs XP. He wants to sap XP. He's too low level to make that rotation, but it just is an unfortunate circumstance right now. The bully is happening. Samson's also not the type of guy, I feel like, to relinquish and buy raindrops to make his lane any easier. So he's got a salve coming on the courier, but then he's gonna have to make work with this meta. Otherwise, the lane ain't getting any better. Nick also has a point up in the board now, so he might look to stack his ancients and then just farm up there. This lane's going pretty horrifically right now.
Not what they were sort of hoping for when they put this lane together. Thought they were going to have a little bit more of a, maybe not entirely free time, but definitely something safer than this, because it's getting rough. But no help can come in the sort of short term. Velhor is rotating his way mid for now, but not sure he's really going to be able to get all the way top. Although with the way Red 2's health is looking, they've got an opening. Okay. Kunkka just runs it real low there with no bottle charges remaining, and he gets punished.
Yeah, and that is the biggest difference in the lanes right now, is the kind of spread here between the Leshrac and the Kunkka, as in Roche, a battle.
What are we doing,
who can make him
boys?
angrier? Yeah, a great job from everyone. Took the aggro, probably A-clicked a creep on the other side of the map, because that's how aggro works with Roche, and didn't let the Riki deny himself, but doesn't help mid anymore. 12 denies, 35 last hits. Kits is a full level up on Red 2 right now. So he's getting on the aggressive. He's even stealing some bounty runes, it looks like. But Kits also just got a regen rune. Also known as the 900 GPM rune for any real Leshrac player, because you just farm everything now.
Yep. He is going to go full bore with the Nova. Just grab what he can and maybe set up onto DNM.
They're diving. They're going straight in. He's got the regen rune. He's tanking.
They want it. There's the push. The cookie stun will connect. Sets up for the splitter. There we go. Slightly delayed, but they knew they had the opening, and Kits is even the one to find the kill there. As his courier is going to die to tower. That's a little awkward, but doesn't matter. Get the regen, get the farm, get the kill. All is well.
Yep, and now it's time for some more just map-wide rotations, because Red 2 also got a 6. Probably would want to get his phase boots before he really goes too hard, but he'd love to go top, but top doesn't need him. Okay. AB1 walks him down with the rest of his lane. Top lane is still absolute success for 5RAT. And look at this. DNM doesn't want to go back into the meat grinder. Says, well, this tier 1 is ours. TP's already gone. We just killed the Jakiro. Anybody who wants to TP back up here, be our guest. And it's going to be the Snapfire with the kisses, but he needs some more friends. This is Wildcard locking themselves into a fight. Oh, DNM doesn't know. Oh, look at this cluster.
This is getting awkward. Cookie does connect, just barely clipping. I thought for sure Kits had stepped a little bit too far to the right, but they're still able to hit. In the meantime, that is a tombstone up on the high ground, so... Well, 5RAT want to stick around and play around it, but... I think at this point Wildcard know what's up, or maybe they don't. Samson very far forward there for reasons I'm not sure I fully understand. He's going to get pulled back by the X into the ghost ship, even knocked back by the cogs, so even if he had been level 6, he wouldn't have been able to get the Sunder off, and that really kind of just ruins that play. Initially, that was brilliant from Wildcard. Get the kill onto DNM and walk away. Instead, Samson just kind of gives some back.
Yeah, certainly a little awkward, but also done a fantastic job of shutting out DNM. He's having a real rough time now finding any footing in this game. About to be level 6, though, so we're going to see that big play with the Wrath of Nature pretty soon, but they are not giving him any time. And Arcane Rune bottled up on Kits, because, of course, while the 8-mana rune was spawning, they were killing Terrorblades, so this mid tower is going to get egged on. It's also where the glyph was forced out of bottom just a few minutes ago, so it's not back up yet, so this mid tower is going to eat a lot of damage.
They're at least able to get some sort of trade up in the top lane, as Little Nick does go to work there. AP1, meanwhile, is attempting to distract mid. Kits and Sunlight, though, don't look like they're taking that bait. Wrath of Nature flies through to, honestly, minimal effect there, but it does help clear out the creep wave, and that's the most important factor.
Yeah, giving respect to their opponents as well. Feeling like they're going to start rotating towards mid. They just killed your top tower. Makes sense. Being very cautious. And a very different build coming out from Kits, actually. He's just going straight for a Yule Scepter. Something that we don't usually see anymore. For a reason, but I think wanting to ease up some of the pressure of his teammates lacking any setup or stuns. So certainly something that Yules is very capable of, but is very different compared to the Bloodstone Rush we're all used to seeing, as they do miss up out on a kill on AB1.
Yeah, I suppose... Right, if you're stuck in cogs, if you're hit by the X, even stuck in Sprout, a Yules does kind of get you out of more situations. Yeah. Dodge the X combo. And honestly, not just dodge it for your own sake. If the Kunkka isn't careful and just says, I've got the X, let's throw the full boat out there, then yeah, you've thrown away a massive teamfight ult, so... Well, fair enough. But now you have to question Kits, how much damage are you going to do if he goes for this build? Right now, not a concern, though. Right now, they're just trying to force something under their own tower. AB1 very deep into the fight, and he does end up getting taken down. But the X did go out onto Kits. The timing, though, is so off that smokescreen prevented them from going for their usual setup. And now with Samson into this engagement, they really are looking to push their way forward. They want speed. They'll miss with the stun. But they've got enough damage to power through. While that goes down, though, Red 2 will finish the tower. But, cool, you got a tower, but Kit's got both of those kills, ET. He's 5-0 now, so... Well, Yules instead of Bloodstone? No, maybe he's thinking Yules and Bloodstone, because he's getting enough gold.
No, he's definitely set up in a real nice spot. He's done a great job so far in this game. But Smokescreen from Belhor, absolute MVP in that engagement. Just broke up everything, made Kits' death seem a lot less likely. But... that is one thing that 5RAT can be happy about. They're still getting buildings. They're throwing their bodies. They may be losing a few heroes here or there. But as long as the cores survive and the cores get to go back to their farming patterns, to their routes, they're still going to get a lot of creep pressure on these towers for Wildcard the entire game. It's always going to be lanes in, pressure added. It's going to be very annoying to deal with. And we'll have to see now what Wildcard decide to do. Okay, watch TP's top. But they really want to get this bottom tier 1 knocked down. But we're also coming up on that shard timing where Ricky's going to start saving. It's where you kind of do need that AoE gold from buildings and objectives to make sure the Ricky shard doesn't come out too late. Even though they were looking for Nick.
Still kind of prowling around, but at this point Nick's already backed away, but... Well, maybe they can do something with this still. You do have DNM farming in the jungle, and Belhor is about to scout him out. Any detection in the area? No, but speed is going to step in front of this, so if anyone goes down, the Undying would hurt a lot less, but at this point, Speed doesn't want to go down. He's looking for a straight-up fight, and here comes Nick, rotating in. The Roar is going to catch Sunlight. Push the Ricky up onto the high ground, but again, still no detection, so he's able to walk away. But at that point, you let the Ricky go. You found a core kill in a scenario where your opponents were the ones trying to be the initiators. Instead, they kind of walk into a trap.
Yeah, just a little bit too much confidence gained from the ward they were to place while they were smoked, so they end up kind of just dying for free, which is a little sad. But I think Wildcard probably just shift their focus a little bit more towards that bottom tier 1. They're already pinging it out. They kind of know what's going on, and they're trying to give Velhor a lane, just making sure he can get that shard in a pretty reasonable fashion. But any fight where they can close the gap immediately onto Sunlight, especially when he tries to kill the tomb, is going to be a good fight for 5RAT. Just simple as that. So no kisses, barely killed the tomb, but had to kill himself for it. Just not the fight that you're ever going to want to see from Wildcard.
They're at least getting the tower back on track here with the objective push, so Kits is able to take it. It's going to open up a lot of the south side jungle for them, as they had previously... well, the tower went down. I think Speed ended up denying it, so it wasn't the full gold bounty, but it does still free up the space. And, well, how much do they want to emphasize this side of the map? They've got a little bit of vision down already. Flea is holding on to a ward or two. This would be a nice place for them to play in. Maybe send Samson down there, but the other half of that coin ET is that that's a pretty obvious move, so if you don't have the full vision, you might be walking your TB into trouble.
Yep, gotta be careful. Gotta make sure, kind of checks and balances here. If you ever lose track of the Clockwork or the Kunkka, the play could be happening. And Red 2, look at that. Excited for the Blade Mail build. Something I think we've seen him do before, but is especially good versus the Leshrac. Just making him think twice about just going into a fight headlong with the Pulse Nova enabled. Of course, changes a little bit once the Bloodstone happens, but still is not bad. As a hookshot, I think first hookshot of the game, whiffs there on Flea.
Well, he gave it a try, but off the mark, and... well, even if that doesn't hit, you see the sentries being set up here, 5RAT trying to reestablish their control in the south side jungle. But now, Red 2, DD rune in hand. No target, though. Leshrac already fallen back. Kit's kind of sensing, once his vision starts going away, that something has to be coming.
Oh, look at this, Nick. Trying to set up, tried for the roar, but he's running. He's trying to walk out of this one, and they're going to lose track of him.
Yeah, Flea is now the one who's really just getting beat up here. Axis come back in. DNM snipes the kill with the Wrath of Nature. That's a little bit awkward. I mean, the setup is great. It's just, outside of the kisses, that duo really didn't have any actual damage.
Yeah, just very last second. I think a play where you would have loved Velhord to scout out beforehand, but finally, Sleep Dart is online, and already he's looking for a play. He's looking for kills. That ward in the lane did scout that TP coming in, though, so Red 2, he's already very hesitant, and the scan will confirm it, so he knows, don't want to go any further here. I might die.
This would be a rough position to give up the kill as well. His net worth may not be the highest among the cores, but... well, starting progress on the BKB, now is not the time for the setback. And of course, this is always the thing we sort of talk about with the Kunkkas. Blade Mail into BKB, you are very hard to bring down, you are very disruptive in the fights, but in terms of direct damage output, you're not the highest in the world, which normally is not a concern, as Red 2, trying to get onto Sunlight, X into Ghost Ship, there's going to be the hook shot, but... yeah, too many heroes in the area there. The flare really did not come out in time to scout that, and, well, sort of back to the concern. If the Kunkkas go in more utility and durability than damage, the Beastmaster typically sort of goes into the same realm. ET, all of a sudden, you start looking at this Nature's Prophet as the guy having to provide, like, 75% of your damage output.
Yeah, and he's getting his BKB. No Gleipnir Rush, no Midas built up from DNM either, which is a mild concern, I think. But it just means they're going to want to battle early. They're going to want to battle hard. And they also want some safety for their carry when they push into Roche. And this is Roche time for 5-Rat. They've got Beastmaster with the Helm of the Overlord. As soon as they get the BKB on NP, then he's not going to have to worry about Kisses or the Ice Path coming in. But it is a very obnoxious Roche defense if Wildcard can catch you in the act. If they know it's coming, Ice Path is a very obnoxious spell if it can connect, but this is pretty sneaky. They go in quick. They've got a nice ward scouting out as well. And this is going to be a no contest Roche. Exactly what 5-Rat we're looking for.
Yeah. Oh, well, they scanned now, but now it's too late, so... About to say they didn't even scan it out. There's going to be DNM picking up the Aegis. Velhor keeping tabs on some heroes mid. But this is where the Aegis kind of complicates things. Normally, with Kits and Sunlight wrapping around, you could look for a quick play onto a support or even onto the Kunkka if he had stuck around, but you don't know where the rest of 5-Rat were at the moment, and 2 lives on the Nature's Prophet kind of messes with their plans a bit. But now, well, because they don't go in, 5-Rat just rotate top, they take the tower for free, and they could afford to maybe poke at this tier 3 tower. I don't know if this is going to be a full-on push ET, but they can try to get some chip damage.
Well, they start pushing forward, and, well, that's going to happen. Macropyre, it's usually not the first wave that ends up being successful, even though Flea is kind of X'd up right now.
Dart.
There's the sleep dart, yeah. No connection, though. Nobody feeling confident enough to walk up, and really, they shouldn't. This is where respect for the clockwork has to be given. You don't have any 4-staffs built up just yet. If you end up in those cogs, it's pretty much a death sentence, especially if they know the cookie's on cooldown. Where those outer towers are really a much better play for them. They wanted to get Glyph out of Wildcard top, but they were extremely patient. But look mid. Okay.
Push in. Push back from the cogs. Sets up for the X. Sets up for the Torrent. Another pushback from the cogs allows the Ghost Ship. Nope. Ghost Ship doesn't hit. Eul Scepter coming in handy. Kits healing up. Sunder used defensively to keep Kits alive, but the Roar is still going to be there. It looks like the Leshrac will eventually go down. Mortimer Kisses are flying through, but they're so spread out over the fight. I'm not sure if anyone's going to actually die. Velhor says, hold on. Let me get in there. Able to finally get someone as Red 2 will fall. But, well, they're not going to get any more. But at the end of the day, ET, that is 1 for 1 on the mids. According to the fight recap, 5-Rat will take that win, but if you're Wildcard, you just needed something, and they did find it.
Yeah. They got a fight going. They don't get to take the Aegis out of DNM's hands, which is definitely unfortunate, but I feel like that fight could have gone a lot worse. That was with a lot of their control kind of barely hitting. Is this really a play on the speed? They're going to try for it. And I mean, they do have good damage, but is everybody going to die to try this play?
Now it's time to run. Flea, not going to make it out. Yeah, they just don't hit hard enough between the two of them. Even with Macropyre committed there, it's just not enough.
Yeah, unfortunate. Flesh Golem, just a little too strong, a little bit too big of a zombie, but could be worse. But 5-Rat, they say, okay, hero's dead, we can get some more damage, right back onto the tier 2. Kits is in a position to slow up and already kill the creep waves, but they're moving in.
I don't know about this one. They're going to get the kill on AB1 at least, but now Velhor, yeah, needed his escape route, jumps to a teammate, Sunlight walks away, no way out for Velhor there. It was a nifty move, but Wrath of Nature is kind of a cheat code there.
Yeah. Very solid. Very good plays coming in. And DNM has his Gleipnir. Doesn't have it on his hero just yet, and sadly, half of his Gleipnir is on his dead courier, so he won't have that item even if he does TP back into the base. But this tier 2 is not feeling like a defense. You wouldn't get your Glyph refreshed either, but Sunlight...
Oh boy.
A little bit too much confidence here.
The 4-staff does move him, but he's still stunned. Now pulled back by the tidal wave, and the Roar was deployed onto the Chikiro as well, so Flea does not have a way out, and... Oh, hold on a second. Okay. They got the dart. They're going to go for the Eul's play to try and set up for the Split Earth, but a 4-staff gets him away, and... Man, Wildcard. You know, we were talking about the Sleep Dart being such a nice way for them to get this easy setup ET, but it's not that easy. When they do get the combo, they don't have the damage. When they do have the damage, well, the setup isn't actually guaranteed.
Yeah, it's starting to feel like I think the Leshrac needs a BKB. He needs to be able to be that continued stun after the Sleep Dart, or it has to be the cookie. We just haven't seen the Kisses in a while, which is kind of the big problem right now. and we've never seen them able to close the gap onto Nick. The Beastmaster is just surviving. He's getting his roars off. He's keeping everybody buffed up, feeling strong, and it's just kind of working. And 5RAT are also doing a great job of abusing the glyph. They're just claiming all of these outer towers. DNM has his Gleipnir now as well, so they're continuing to get stronger and stronger. Just feels like they're riding that curve that their 5-man really allows. Tipping point's going to be once Red 2 gets his BKB, then he's really not going to be scared of anything. And Wildcard have a big problem. They've got a very difficult push coming up ahead, where Samson is trying to finish a BKB of his own to be ready for it, but in very similar fashion to game 1, no damage yet. No Scotty, no B-Fly. He's really just going all in on survivability and hoping that that's going to keep him up in this game.
Wow. Well, I mean, that's Kisses used. It clears out the creep wave, but is the backdoor protection even going to kick in? No, it doesn't. So Kiss is down, tower still taken, and now that they know that tool is not available, 5RAT kind of have the green light to go anywhere that they want on the map right now.
Yeah, kind of an awkward play, but a little bit of desperation, and Wildcard have situated themselves very nicely here in that Radiant Triangle, trying to get Red 2. Little do they know, Red 2 has BKB coming up on the Crow, so they need to chain stun him up perfectly. Otherwise, this is going to get blown wide open. Here we go.
Silence, first stun, second stun, kills there. Now they're looking for more. Speed, tried to push forward. He is doing a lot of damage to Flea, but they need to be able to deal with the core. Samson, though, has already lost about half of his HP. They are really trying to sort of keep the angle around their opponents. They've taken out a core, or support rather, but there's the roar. Samson in trouble. Can they keep him alive? No, they can't. Sunder was mid-animation, but the cookie did not actually save him. Sunlight's now just going to try and TP away. He does make it. But man, ET, there's just no play for Wildcard here that doesn't get complicated somehow.
Yeah, they need their BKBs now. I think that's kind of the simple answer here. They're just not feeling confident enough to stand up in a lot of these engagements, but they also got 5RAT's BKBs. Not the Kunkas, he gets to hold on to his 9-second, but he didn't get to play in that team fight. But DNM's is slowly but surely ticking down. That was also, I believe, Nick's first use. So the BKBs are getting shorter, the team fights are getting longer. It's where if Wildcard just naturally build up their BKBs now, everybody's going to have their BKB just a little bit longer than their opponents. It's where I'm still kind of waiting here to see what Sammy Boy decides to go for, just because he could buy out a full BKB right now. He could switch up for a Scotty, which feels like he's going to do instead, but I wouldn't mind either choice, really, at this point. But 4.2k gold, you know, time to buy someone.
I do want to ask you about this from Kits. He delayed the BKB, instead opted to go for the boost of travel. Do you think the extra mobility, the ability to maybe farm better and keep lanes pushed out a little more, is worth the risk of not having your magic immunity right now?
It's definitely calculated, saying that 5RAT aren't going to take another jab at us until they have that next Aegis. But it is a chunk of farm. It's 1.5 components of a would-be BKB, but it does make it a lot easier for him to play the lanes. And I think more so, it makes the Riki feel better, because Ricky's going to be out on the side lanes. If he can set up on somebody, then Kit's can actually TP in. I think it's more so those heroes playing together than anything.
Well, we'll see if they can slow things down on the Wildcard side long enough for that to play out in their favor as they are prowling around in the bottom lane. And yeah, this is what they want. If somebody comes up that they can fight, great. If they don't, even better. Kits gets to farm for free, and well, if he gets enough time to farm, then the previous question I asked you, ET, becomes kind of irrelevant, because might just farm up enough gold to have both.
Well, and that's where, unfortunately, for Mr. Kits, Roche is not waiting. Yeah. 16-minute Roche time, or 16-second Roche timer, only 5 seconds longer than the Roche timer we had in game 1, but nonetheless, it will still throw and swing a lot of momentum back into the team that has the lead. So now 5RAT get another no contest Roche, even though they scout out Velhor, trying to be cheeky with it, maybe trying to be a little bit annoying, but another situation where Wildcard don't get their lineup out of the base. We don't see an Ice Path thrown into the pit. We don't see any Kisses rain down. We don't see early BKBs. It just still feels very free for 5RAT.
And okay. DNM does take both, so he's got the curse up on the Nature's Prophet, which, Who knows? It's always nice to have. Definitely not something he would purchase for himself, but if he gets it for free, why not? But they immediately push across the map. They take down the Jakiro, which may not be the greatest kill in terms of the gold it gets them, but that's a little bit of that wave clear taken away. That's a little bit of a weakness in the lineup if you're looking for a fight, but Wildcard very wisely are not going to present too many targets here. They're going to hang out in the base. Maybe once the Jakiro's back up, we could see them try something. There's a couple of smokes in the Jakiro's hands, so they're going to go in without the smoke. They're just going to try and make a play onto the Kunkka directly, but again, the damage output is questionable here. Yeah, Kits and Samson were both coming around, but they weren't in position yet. Now, though, they're still going to try this fight. The Scotty is available, but who can they actually hit? They're trying to get the Ancient Black Dragon first, and they did do so, but now they want actual kills. They're looking at speed. 4RATFORCESTAFF did get him out of the smoke screen, but they're able to stun him up, pull him back in, and well, they will be able to find a kill there. And honestly, with the value of the Helm of the Overlord creep, that's 1.5, 2 kills worth of gold, but this is getting risky. Kits, are you sure you want to do this? He does have Velhor for backup, but it's less backup now and more of a sacrifice.
Yeah, Velhor just needs to run it down, but he got a little bit greedy. I think running down the lanes, just thought they were going to be safe, but AB1 had the gem, passed it off. It's still passing it off. Now it's on the Kunkka, but they got what they wanted. But now there's no meta. That was Samson's big reveal. Got a Grove Bow as well, but he is no longer a ranged hero, so if there's ever an opportunity for 5RAT to at least force the glyph, Wildcard, they need to have the Ag Shard on Leshrac, or they'd hope to have that, but he needs a BKB still. It's really just Flea at this point. Gonna be forced to defend his tier 3 towers. They do not want this high ground broken.
Now they're trying, but Tidal Wave, okay. Pulls him back a bit. 4RATFORCESTAFF gets him back into a defensive position between the Macro Pyre and the Glyph. They did buy some time. Kits, yeah, was pushing the bottom lane, but now he realizes this is an actual push. I should probably be back with my teammates, and it's a nice thought, ET, but even with him here, how much can they do? Ricky's up in 4, maybe then you can make a play, but you still need someone from 5RAT to be presenting as a forward target, and DNM is really not the guy you want. He's got the Aegis still, but they're going to give it a try anyway, and that was a bad idea. Right back on the sidelines there for Velhor.
Yep. 30 seconds off from meta, so then Samson can make a little bit more of a contest, but they got everything they want. And now 5RAT win a team fight on the dire side of the map, well, it's almost certainly Megas. You have to be real careful now. Wildcard should not probably leave their high ground. At the very least, have to wait for Ricky to respawn. Kits also made another decision. Instead of going for the BKB, decided he just needed the moment-to-moment power spike, so he ended up buying a Kai Assange. So just building that Kai and then buying the Sange because it's cheaper, but still not getting any huge spike in their ability to actually team fight. We're still kind of waiting here, and
he's caught. Can they save him? For now, yes, or maybe not. The X is on him still, so he's pulled back into the ghost ship. A cookie being deployed, but it's not enough. Samson goes down. Does he have buyback? No, he does not. 900 gold short of the mark. So here comes 5RAT, looking for, well, what could be the victory moment for them. DNM picks up both kills and goes straight to work on the tier 3 tower. And there is no defense. They're angling like they're going to try, but really, there's not a lot they can do. There's going to be the hookshot in from AB1. That may have been a little overly ambitious, but does set up for the tidal wave. Pulls Kits back in. They're going to leash him now with the Sprout into the Roar, locking him down. Can they get the kill in time? Not quite yet. Eul Scepter buying time, but once he goes down, the Nullifier's on him, so he really does have to retreat. The Axes will not kill Kits. The Torrent, though, will. In red, too. Free firing a Torrent, and ET, that may very well be it. You've got Samson up in 8 seconds or so, but even with the meta, I don't know if his presence is going to be enough, especially if he's losing teammates. Flea goes down. TP forward from the Terrorblade. Desperation setting in. They just need something. Anything that they can find. Do they have a miracle? Samson, well, he gets himself outside of the base, but the tidal wave knocks him back. Yeah, this just isn't really what they want. AB1 does technically go down. Maybe they can get speed here as well, but they haven't dealt with the cores.
Cores who... no, and everybody's out. Yeah.
Just leave.
They're gone. They got the gem. They bring everybody away. They got the buyback out of the Jakiro. I mean, the cores just all got to respawn peacefully, but another situation where they just don't get anything. And that was a great jump. They're trying to go in DNM's Aegis dying. He doesn't have BKB still for a few more seconds. They know that's their big ticket back into this game, but double force staff gets away. He's too elusive. He's got the 20 talent. He's sprouting behind him. It's just too much. And now you don't have meta. So we're in that same situation. So you can do your best to push out the lanes right now, but we still have a 100-second window where 5RAT are just going to look for the game win.
And now, well, if you're 5RAT, you know which direction you're pushing in. Bot's the only lane still standing, so if you're Wildcard, you live to see another day, I suppose. That's the good news, because the game could have straight up ended there if they hadn't been able to sort of break it up and, if not kill the 5RAT cores, at least push them back. But you have bought time for what exactly? What's on the horizon? What is the home run play coming out from these cores that gives you any more confidence that you're going to take the next fight better than you took the last one?
Yeah, and the real one, it is just going to be this BKB on Samson. I do not think we're going to see Kitses come out before this game is kind of said and done. It's why he's got the plate mail queued up in front of it, just because that's where we're kind of at. And they're not even going to wait for that. We're still 400 gold away. Nobody can really afford to die from Wildcard, but here we go. Everything's coming through. Kits is so dead without buyback. And the rest of the lineup, they're retreating, but there's no meta for 30 seconds. It might just be a little too fast here from 5RAT. And if we don't see the GGs, this is certainly megas.
And they're going to go for that final lane of racks first. Be thorough. Don't get greedy and go straight for the tier 4s, although realistically speaking, they probably could have afforded to, but you like the discipline no matter what. As the X catches out the snap, Torrent's there, Tidal Wave is there, Sunlight's in trouble, BKB does not help him, he dies on the steps of the fountain, and now Samson's in trouble as well. Used the Manta, but immediately caught in the Sprout. Okay, AB1 takes a trip into his opponent's fountain. So he does end up getting picked off there, but at this point, doesn't really matter. Samson's getting caught out, his BKB was just delivered, so he is able to get it off, and the Sunder. And the meta, for that matter. So now all of a sudden, if you're 5RAT, you're thinking, maybe we pull it back a bit. But at this point, even with them pulling that back, they got really everything that they wanted. Maybe speed dies, but here comes DNM back into the fight. Red 2 looking for his angle as well. Tidal Wave and Ghost Ship both available. But who can they hit up? They're going to try for Fleet first, able to quickly bring him down, and now Samson is entirely isolated. Oh, no, he's not. Kits respawns back into the fight, and hold on a second. Red 2. I thought he was just going to walk away, and City kind of sticks around too long. And maybe Wildcard can do something here. Lil Nick blinks in, drops the roar, Kit's in trouble. Can he get off the Yule Scepter? Yes, he can. Samson. I don't know if that was a smart idea. That's game losing right there. As Samson goes down, Kits will fall as well. Good attempt, but maybe not the best time for the defensive Sunder.
Yeah, and they're not calling it, but their Omega's hitting it. Yeah, I feel like we are one death away, and won't even get there. Yeah. Decides to call it. And I wonder if Samson's kind of kicking himself, because I think the Scotty would have worked, and it did work for the one fight where they would have pushed him off of their mid-tier 3, but just with the BKB coming out so late into this game, maybe the double defensive item was the answer. And I think certainly for Kits, the Leshrac just was not battle ready nearly enough. And funnily enough for Wildcard, we kind of see an issue that used to plague 5RAT whenever they had Kits on the lineup, where he is so much better at the initiators or the playmakers or the heroes that go in, the melee heroes that start the team fights. But when you have a hero and a player on hard farmer, like the Leshrac, who's certainly a strong hero, but takes another portion of the map away from you, it feels a little bit more difficult to balance. It feels like you need to have a little bit more of a game plan for the entire game, something that you don't have with a stand-in. So it's a little bit more difficult to pull off in these types of situations. And 5RAT, like we said, time and time again in the draft, they changed the objectives. It's no longer kills. It's no longer slaying you 45 times in a 20-minute game. It's we're going to kill buildings. We don't care too much about dying. We're just going to keep that ball rolling. That's exactly what they did. They just killed objectives. They got to play Nature's Prophet carry. They just played the Dota they pretty much exactly needed to win.
And, well, that all kind of works out. I said early in the game, you know, there were some concerns with Kunkka and Beastmaster both going for a utility style, but if the name of the game was let's control the map, let's take objectives, then the lack of damage, if you could even really call this a lack of damage, they still kind of did just fine finding kills. It doesn't matter. You've got the lockdown. You just keep on pushing your way forward. I mean, Nick doesn't even die. 4-0-25 on his Beastmaster, so everything falls into place for them, and 5RAT get the win. They get the point. Now they're guaranteed at least a tiebreaker for playoffs, and if they get one more win in their last series, then they're just straight on through to the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they're pretty satisfied with the run so far. A few hiccups here or there. Of course, we got the weirdness of Nick being their offlaner now, which we'll see if that continues to stick in the tournament at large, but definitely different in a way that didn't work out so much for them. But we'll see. Maybe a change up, maybe just a day thing. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens both in their final series of the group stage and if/when they do make it to playoffs. Meanwhile, for Wildcard, not the 2-0 that they may have been hoping for, but getting a point where they desperately needed it. So they are still in the running as of right now. But now we move on to our next series, ET. It is going to be all South America up next. We do have Thunder Awaken going up against No Runes. So we are getting ready for that one. Should be coming your way in about 10 to 15 minutes here. So we shall step aside for a bit and be back for the start of the Game 1 draft.